Hello and welcome back. Today we read chapter 5 titled Specialized Knowledge. And I'm not going to lie, I really did not want to read tonight. I don't know what it was. I was feeling very lazy. Um, but I couldn't let my viewers down. At this point, I've got, I think, 15 views on my first 5 videos. So I know I would have disappointed you guys if I didn't just power through and hold up to my end of the bargain here. So I'm glad I read it. It was a great chapter. It started and it hit a lot of points that I believe in, and it was nice to see them discussed in this chapter. The first point that they kind of made in this chapter was the fact that knowledge in and of itself doesn't really amount to much. He kind of mentions candidly that if you look at some of the knowledge institutions around the world, some of these major colleges, there's a whole lot of people with a lot of knowledge and maybe not a lot of money to go along with it. So um, the classic idiom that knowledge is power maybe isn't true as much as we think, but in fact, it's applied knowledge that is powerful. So he kind of goes into a story about Henry Ford and basically how Henry Ford wasn't a very educated man. He wasn't the most knowledgeable in facts and conventional knowledge, but he had assembled a team, a mastermind team is what he called it. Oh, you can probably hear my dog coming here, sorry. Mastermind team that he had access to all the knowledge he could need at any given time. So he might not have had the knowledge himself, but he knew how to access the knowledge needed, and that was far more powerful and allowed him to focus on the things that he needed to focus on. The next part that I really enjoyed was this concept that people don't appreciate knowledge or things or ideas that are presented to them for free. And there's not as much value unless someone is paying a price in whatever form for the knowledge. And he kind of talks about it in the form of people who endeavor to learn on their own in their own free time versus learn in a conventional public school setting or a public university setting where they may not feel like they're sacrificing or paying for it. So people typically get more out of something if they're sacrificing more to obtain that something. So he uses that to kind of talk about how ambitious individuals are the ones who are learning on their own and kind of taking the extra step to learn on their own versus the classically educated individuals, which I guess I would be included in. I went through 7.5 years of college. Think that they finish college and they finish school and all of a sudden they're educated and they're going to be successful because of that. And he says the one great handicap, that's not what he called it, but that's what I'm going to call it. The one great handicap of any person that can't be fixed is a lack of ambition. So then he goes on to talk a little bit more about, kind of gets into a rant on selling personal services. I didn't really understand this very well, to be honest with you. I don't even really know what personal services are. So I kind of took this one with a grain of salt. I'm going to have to look into what personal services are a little bit at some point. But basically talks about how people were able to leverage themselves into higher positions and higher paying positions so that they didn't have to start from the bottom necessarily by basically selling themselves to these organizations. And there was a woman who started a business that basically endeavored to sell potential employers to employ potential employees to potential employers, and hopefully earning them a higher wage while simultaneously promising a good employee to the company. So I don't feel like my thoughts on that chapter were very well organized. I feel like it was a very good chapter and there was a lot of valuable information in it. But just kind of reflecting on it after I just read it, I'm having a hard time, I guess, processing everything that I read. But certainly a lot that I agree with. And I think the overarching topic is that it takes more than just knowledge to be successful, and you can learn in a conventional way and know all the facts and tidbits, and that might not garner you success unless you find a good way to apply that knowledge. And you have to sacrifice something in the quest for specialized knowledge in order for us to really value it. So that's kind of my takeaway from that chapter. Again, I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to reading chapter 6. Glad we were able to finish this one tonight, and hopefully you guys follow along. Thanks.